How's everybody doing? I'm here to address this Jake Paul situation. I haven't been on in a while, but this one caught my attention. It's been kind of interesting. Jake Paul, most people know who he is. Uh, he's progressing. He's becoming a better fighter. He's developing his skills. He's knocked out a couple people that are not noteworthy or even on a significant level in the game, but it's good. You get some wins under your belt. That's fine. He doesn't have an amateur career. Here's the issue that he's going to have, and it's going to get harder and harder because what he did is what nobody does. You don't become a 5-0 Showtime main event pay-per-view headliner. That's not realistic. The main event needs to be fights of significance because you have to sell them to the crowd. Okay? So Jake Paul knocks people out, and he's making millions early on, very early on, way too early. And in a lot of ways, he kind of duped himself because now he's got this following. He's got this huge expectation of mega fight. You know, okay, you're knocking people out, so who you fight next? Well, he's not ready to fight anybody at the top level in his weight class or anywhere near the top level yet. Okay, so his team tries to make a deal with a heavyweight. Guys, I mean, Hasim Rahman Jr. is probably 225, 230, walking around even heavier than that. But he gets down to 225, 230 when he fights. He's a heavyweight. The guy's a heavyweight. He wants to make bridger weight. That's a new weight that they have. But you're trying to bring the guy down to 200 because you know you're going to weaken him, and you know that if he drops that weight, you can probably gas him out if you survive long enough to take him into later rounds. You could probably get him out of there if he depletes himself because of losing weight. So they called him up, apparently. And I don't know the details. I wasn't in on the phone calls or in the camps or anything serious, but I'm just observing from the outside. So what I'm saying might not be 100% accurate, but it sounds... If you listen to both camps, they're both saying pretty much the same thing. And we can put 2 and 2 together. Well, here's the 2 and 2. The 2 and 2 is as they tried to bring this man down from heavyweight to 200, Rahman saying, okay, well, this is a huge payday. I'll make the deal. I'm not going to make the weight. Okay, I'll take the hit on the payday, but I'll get to fight this guy. I'll knock him out, and I'll get my name recognition. My name's going to jump up overnight because I knock out Jake Paul, right? So that's the plan. He never planned to make the weight from the get-go. He's going to get down to 215 or whatever he could, maybe even 210 if he could, and then say, hey, I can't make the weight, so fine me, whatever. It happens all the time. Guys just, hey, I'm not going to make the weight. So, they take the fine, the fight goes on. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. did that almost all the time. There's other fighters that have done it. It's nothing new. So that was a plan. Well, fight week comes about, Rahman makes a call. Hey, I'm not going to make the weight. Let's redo the contract. Well, they're trying to say, we'll get to 205. No, I'm not going to go to 205. Okay, I'll go to 210 or 215, whatever. I don't know what they said. Rahman says he said he'll go to 210. That's fine, whatever. Let's just make the fight. Well, Jake Paul doesn't want that fight. All right, from the get-go, if you want to progress as a fighter and you want your fighter to get the experience, to get good rounds in, get the kind of fights that are going to take you to the next level, you got to fight guys in your weight class and fight guys that pose a threat, especially if you're fighting Showtime main event pay-per-views here. Okay, so, I mean, Jake Paul kind of put himself in this corner here because Now he's got the name recognition, and he doesn't have an opponent that Showtime will accept, because he's going to have to pass this whole thing on to Showtime, and they're going to have to take the fight and say, okay, we'll do this. Right? They're not going to do it without a significant name. So they went shopping. They found Hasim Rahman Jr. Everybody knows his dad. His dad's the guy that knocked out Lennox Lewis. So there's a big name right there. You get him on your resume, we can sell that fight. Okay, so Showtime takes that deal, and they make the phone call to Rahman, put these stipulations in, and say, all right, fight us. Well, Rahman's been in this game a little bit longer than Jake Paul, or, you know what I mean, a lot of people around him. And, you know, they tried to get him into a contract. Well, he played a different game, and now Jake's got to pull out of the fight and cancel the whole show. I actually have a friend that's got a kid fighting on the undercard, so they're disappointed. I know a lot of people are disappointed, but this is going to continue to be a problem, because unless Jake just straight up fights somebody a cruiserweight who has a similar record to yourself, right, and an actual boxer, or maybe fight a guy that's 3-3, or 4-5, or whatever. Fight a guy that's got some losses but has been in there a bit. But here's the problem: they're not going to be able to sell that fight to Showtime. Showtime's not going to do a huge card and televise that fight if they're fighting a mediocre fighter, right? Because you've stepped past the level of mediocrity at this point, because you've headlined main event cards on pay-per-view. I mean, you don't get to step back. Now you have to fight the dogs. You put yourself in this predicament, Jake Paul, and I mean, you could go to lower level shows, but the money's not going to be there. You're not going to be promoting them, or maybe you will, but it's not going to be a big televised huge event like you're used to doing with these YouTubers. So I'm interested to see where this goes from here. I mean, I do think the kid can fight. I mean, he's getting better. He's not at the level to where he can fight for a championship or anybody even close to that yet, but he is progressing. I mean, I give him the credit. But he didn't do it the right way. The right way is to humble yourself a little bit, fight some of these lower level cards, get your experience, before you're ready to headline, because now that you're headlining, you don't get to go backwards. You don't get to fight who you want to, 100%. You're not going to just give any name and Showtime going to say, okay, it's not going to happen. Right? You're going to have to fight somebody significant at this point. So we'll see what happens. I mean, maybe they find a name that can get on that card, but at the end of the day, I heard that they had problems with ticket sales too. The people weren't even paying for the event. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how true that is. I haven't even looked into it. Don't really care. I wasn't going to pay for the pay-per-view, because just the fact that I don't think that somebody with that little experience against zero opposition is worthy of a pay-per-view. It's not. I mean, you're watching a novice fight. I go see a fight like that up here at the local amateur show. I mean, I fought guy. I don't even think I ever fought a guy that was 0-0. I never had that fight. I never had that privilege. It's just, I mean, it's just not real, My first fight, the guy was 2-1. My second fight, the guy was 1-1 or something like that. I mean, my third fight was 3-0. Then I went up to a guy who was 8-0. I mean, in the amateurs, it's different, but it's harder in a lot of ways, because you're not gonna cherry pick your opponents. You're just trying to get experience. You're not on TV, so it's not a big deal. You just you get the fights, win, lose, or draw. You take the experience. You go on to the next. And I guess when you're a celebrity, you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it that way. It seems so. I mean, I give the kid credit for putting the work in, but he's cherry picking, and I'm interested to see if he'll find a real cruiserweight that's, maybe, 8-0, 10-0, something like that, because in order to sell the fight, you're going to have to put a serious opponent up there. You're not going to grab a guy that's 0-5, throw him in the ring with Jake Paul, and then expect Showtime to put that on pay-per-view. It's not going to happen. So, we'll see where it goes from here. Hope you guys liked the video. I'm going to try to get more involved on my my understanding and my breakdown of the boxing world more often than I do. I know I'm lazy with it, but I'll get back. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed the video. Merry Christmas. Stay safe. God bless.